give it a few minutes to make sure everything's working right.
Alrighty.
Apparently, I have a really slow internet connection too right now. I don't know why. But it looks like it's working. So, all right. Hmm. Yeah, the right now my connection's really bad. Here, give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can
Okay,
fix that.
no problem.
Yeah, I have no idea. That is weird. All right, I'll record it while streaming in case anything goes wrong.
Okay.
Start recording. All right. So, Dr. Ord, thanks for taking the time to come on and have a conversation with me. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. I live in Idaho. I'm a philosopher and theologian. I worked for about 20 years as a professor at a couple of universities. Now I'm an independent scholar who makes a living writing and speaking. And I was a Christian when I was young, grew up in a pretty conservative household. In college, I left the faith for a while. I returned to believing in God, but the kind of God that I believe in is different from the one that many people believe in. I enjoy the outdoors, do a lot of hiking. I'm a photographer as well. Maybe that's about as much as you need.
All right, cool. So, I'm an atheist, by which I mean I believe that there is no reason to believe in a God and that natural explanations can explain things better and answer all the questions. Could you tell me what reason you believe there is for belief in a God? Then I'd like to tell you my thoughts on those, and then I'd like to hear your thoughts on my position.
All right. Well, I've written several books on this, so I'm going to have to try to condense this. Sorry.
No problem.
um, Maybe it would help to give you an idea of my own story to my reaffirmation of God. I um, I was a person who was really hardcore into evangelism. I was a Christian. I did a lot of door-to-door witnessing, etc. And then in college, I encountered for the first time some really smart agnostics, atheists, folks from other religious traditions. And out of the sake of intellectual honesty, I had to give up my reasons for thinking there was a God at all. In fact, I remember coming to pick up my fiance and her getting in the car and me turning to her and saying, I just can't believe in God anymore. Um, it wasn't that I was giving up belief in God like some people do because, they saw hypocrisy among people of faith, or they were in a rebellious stage of their life or whatever. For me, it was really intellectual issues that led me to give up believing in God. What brought me back to thinking it was more plausible than not that there is a God? Notice I said plausible, not certain. was basically two things, and from those two, I've started to develop others. But the first was I really felt that if I didn't have some sort of ultimate ground of meaning, then I had a hard time understanding how my life could have meaning, how there could be any kind of meaning other than my own preference or my social group's preference or anything like ultimate meaning didn't seem to make sense to me if there wasn't what most people call God. And secondly, I had these deep intuitions that I ought to be a person who loved. It went beyond morals, included morals, but this deep sense that I ought to work for the well-being of others. And not only that I ought to do that, but the world would be a better place if everybody did that. And I couldn't make good sense of those intuitions if there was no ultimate source for them. Any sort of evolutionary hypothesis could contribute to those intuitions, but I didn't think that gave it an ultimate grounding for those. So those two kind of things kind of led me back, inching